Okay, solicited cases come from interventional studies, observational studies, non-interventional studies, market research program, patient support program, specialty pharmacy program, early access program, registries, literature of clinical trial suspect drug. All this comes under solicited individual case safety report. Solicited means they come via a collection program. Okay, so uh, there is a channel through which the individual case safety reports are collected and sent to pharmacovigilance department, whereas spontaneous ICSR means all unsolicited cases from post marketing. So obviously spontaneous ICSRs come only from post marketed drugs, and they are unsolicited, which means there is no proper collecting channel. The patients, consumer, or a healthcare professional, or an unsolicited, they can directly report to pharmacovigilance department through phone call, or an unsolicited report can also come from internet, digital media, or literature. So every pharmacovigilance department will have a structure to monitor the internet, digital media, and the literature. They will look for any of the reports which has been published in the internet or digital media literature with respect to their suspect drug, and that can also be called as a spontaneous individual case safety report. So you're clear with this solicited and spontaneous. I hope in previous classes you learned how a pharmacovigilance department would get a report, right? Through phone calls, it can go to call center, and the call center, from the call center, whatever the information the patient is giving is transcribed into a form, adverse event form, and that adverse event form would reach the pharmacovigilance department through an email. Okay, it will come to an inbox, pharmacovigilance department inbox. In case of spontaneous, coming to solicited, which has a definitive channel for collection of this adverse event, say clinical trial. If a patient is in a clinical trial, the patient is given a clinical trial drug and he is experiencing an adverse event, the principal investigator, whoever is monitoring the patient, would collect all the information regarding the adverse event, and it would be he would transcribe it all the information in adverse event form, and he would send it to pharmacovigilance department through an email, or he can also transcribe all the adverse event information in the EDC, which means the clinical database. So, for safety in pharmacovigilance, we have something called a safety database, which is nothing but the Argus, mostly Argus, which we would be discussing. Similarly, the clinical trial department will have uh, something called as um, a clinical trial database. Okay, so in that clinical trial database, he can transcribe the information, and sometimes the safety department also has access to this clinical trial database. We can access and get the safety information. Okay, so this is how it comes to the safety or the pharmacovigilance department. Coming to the types of ICSRs, there are two types called as valid and non-valid. It is not invalid, it is called as non-valid. Valid means for an individual case safety report to be valid, it should have the four criteria. That is, it should have a patient or a subject identifier, it should have a reporter identifier, it should have a suspect product, and an adverse reaction. Okay, so these are the four minimum criteria for an individual case safety report to be valid. The first one is, this is very important. This slide is very important for interview point of view. Okay, so for an ICSR, uh, it is like it should be valid based on the patient. It should have a patient identifier, subject identifier, reporter identifier, an identifiable product, and uh, an adverse event or a reaction. Okay, so coming to patient identifier, patient initials, patient's ID number, gender, date of birth, age group, all these are considered as patient identifier. If any one is reported, then patient identifier is there. Coming to reporter identifier, reporter's qualification, name of the reporter, initials, address, email ID, username, or even the social media account, username of the social media account, and even the email address can be considered as reporter identifier. Okay. Next is an identifiable like there should be an adverse